Okay. Hello and welcome to the next lecture in the series of lectures of Printers Material Science 1. In this lecture, we will talk about the next important parameter that we have to maintain for water that we are using in the fountain solution for offset printing. Now, in the previous lecture on pH, we saw the effect of pH on various materials. So there we saw the effect of pH on paper and fountain solution and photographic film development, bath and fixing bath and all this, and also light sensitive coatings and ink adhesives, etc. In this lecture, we will be talking about the conductivity and the effect of conductivity on the water that we are using in the fountain solution. Okay, so what is conductivity? Simply put, the ability of any material to conduct electricity is conductivity, right? Now you may ask, when we are talking about conductivity of water, is water a good conductor? Is pure water or distilled water a good conductor of electricity? No, the answer is no, because whenever we are talking, so I will focus my attention only to water only, in this scenario, because that is our point of uh, you know discussion here. Now, in case of distilled water or pure water, what is the scenario there? What is happening there? For distilled water, it does not contain any impurities, right, or very negligible impurities, and no minerals and nothing, right, no salts, nothing. So conductive, that is why it is not able to conduct electricity. Now, for any material who is going to conduct electricity, be it water or something else, if there are some free materials like salts, ions, all this, only then they are able to conduct electricity through that material. But in case of distilled or pure water, it does not, it is devoid of all these materials, ions and salts and all these things. That is why it is not capable of conducting electricity. But normal tap water contains dissolved solids, salts of various metals, right? So because of the presence of all these dissolved solids and all these materials, normal tap water that we usually use or even drink, they are known as conductive. They have conductivity within them, right? Now, this is now understood that conductivity is basically uh, conductivity will occur only if there are some dissolved solids, right? Only when there are some dissolved solids. I'll come back to this point of discussion later on. Now, the SI unit for conductivity is basically Siemens per meter, right? Or you can, or another unit maybe mho per meter, or mhos per meter, right? Mho is just the reverse of ohm. So if resistivity is ohm per meter, then conductivity is reverse of resistivity, which becomes mhos per meter, but we'll use Siemens per meter only as unit. Now here, since I told you that the reason why conductivity is present in water, is due to the presence of some dissolved solid. Now, this dissolved solid can also be calculated or can actually be measured from the water sample. We have an instrument in our lab using which, it's basically a pen type instrument, using which we can measure the total amount of dissolved solid, or the TDS in ppm, parts per million. In TDS, we can measure, that is we can measure the total amount of dissolved solid that is present in the water, right? So depending upon the total amount of dissolved solid, we can call the water as hard, soft, etc. So coming to that particular discussion over here, that you see, since I told that conductivity can occur when in water, when there are some ionizable material there, maybe some salt, maybe some electrolyte, like that. So who is going to carry the charge? So whenever there is some electrode present in that kind of water sample, then the ions will preferentially move to a particular electrode based on their own charge, right? Now, this conductivity basically can be measured with the help of TDS. Okay, so conductivity can itself also be measured, but TDS is another, you can say, manifestation or another unit using which we can get some idea about what kind of conductivity we have in that water. So, for example, very simple, if the TDS is very high, If the TDS of the water is very high, then the conductivity is going to go up, right? Because the amount of dissolved solid is high, thereby the material which is going to conduct that electricity is high, therefore large amount of electricity will be able to pass through that sample. That is why TDS is an indication of conductivity only, right? TDS is an indication of other factor also, which is, as I told, hardness of water. That is another issue. But when we are talking about conductivity, we must understand that it is going to have some impact on the print production process, especially the nature of emulsion that is formed between water, that is the dampening solution, and your offset ink. All right. Now coming to our another point of discussion, which is basically on hardness. Depending on what type of salts are there in the water, the hardness can be classified in two ways. One is your permanent hardness. When are we going to say that the water is permanently hard? When the water contains sulfates and chlorides of calcium magnesium. Why do I say that it is permanent? It has got permanent hardness because these salts basically ionize in aqueous medium to form strong acids and strong bases. Alright, as soon as they form strong acids and strong base, what is going to happen? They are going to react with each other and they are going to ultimately neutralize. That is why permanent hardness is not a matter of concern for us. Because ultimately, if the water contains permanent hardness, that means it contains sulfates and chlorides of calcium magnesium. They will form strong acids and alkalis. They are going to react with each other and they are going to neutralize each other, right? So this is not going to give us some headache, okay? But what is going to give us some headache is when the water contains temporary hardness. Temporary hardness is basically when water contains carbonates and bicarbonates of calcium. Then the water is said to be temporarily hard. Because why? These carbonates and bicarbonates dissociate under aqueous medium to form strong acids and strong base and weak acids. They are not going to neutralize with each other. What they are going to do? They are going to increase the pH of the water by 1 or 3 pH levels. This, whenever the water contains carbonates and bicarbonates of calcium, then the water is said to have temporary hardness, and this is going to give us some headache. Okay, now, and before moving on to our actual topic of discussion on conductivity, let me first talk about a little bit about. So I'll come back to this discussion, but let me first talk about the effect that conductivity basically has in the photographic development path. Now, whenever we are making the photographic development bath with some tap water, now the tap water will contain some salts of calcium, magnesium, all this, right? Now, they precipitate as insoluble carbonates and sulfides, and they keep on make the water very muddy in nature. Even when you try to filter it out, it remains as insoluble residue, and it smears the calcium that precipitate basically sticks onto the dried film, and it will basically stain the gelatin. It will reduce the quality of the image that you get from the particular film. This is basically prevented by the addition of Calgon to the developing bath. Calgon is nothing but sodium hexametaphosphate, right? This forms water soluble complexes with calcium ions, and this prevents the precipitation of insoluble calcium salts, as you can see has been given in this particular reaction over here, right? Whenever we are preparing this development bath, we are normally preparing not with distilled water, but in our lab also you'll see we prepare it with, because we are not doing some commercial work or industry grade work. Even if there is some stain, we do not have much anxiety about it. But when you are doing some professional work, during that time you have to be very much considerate about what type of quality of image you are getting. Now, if for example you see that from the image you are getting some in the image, in the film you are getting some stains due to the calcium carbonates and calcium sulfides that exist in the water using which you made the developing bath. What is going to happen? That is going to get transferred onto your plate and ultimately onto the paper. So that is going to reduce the image quality, because if the film is stained, because what happens is calcium basically clings on to the gelatin surface and it is not going to come off very easily because it is insoluble in water, right? So how it can be made soluble in water? If you add that sodium hexametaphosphate. When you add this, then calcium reacts with this calcium carbonate salts and sulfide salts, they react with this sodium hexametaphosphate, sorry, with the calcium that is present in the sulfides and carbonates to form a material which is soluble in water, and you can just easily wash it off. So that is the basic reason why we are adding this sodium hexametaphosphate in the developing bath, or calgon in the developing bath. Okay, it's usually added only, so external addition is not required. Okay, now coming back to our original topic, which is the conductivity of water. Now, as I already told you, it may be either moles per meter or Siemens per meter, right? The unit. Now, depending, as I already told you, the TDS is what? The total amount of dissolved solid in the material, in the water that is present. We have instruments to measure conductivity. We have instruments to measure TDS in our lab. We'll do all these experiments. There you will see that we have multiple samples of water. We have tap water, we have distilled water, some other water samples also. Now, in normal water, in any sample of water, these are the guidelines when you can say the water is hard and when you can say water is soft. If the your conductivity, if your conductivity of water is 75 micromoles per centimeter, then the water is said to be soft in nature. Okay. If it is greater than 200, then it is or greater than 300, it is known as your hard water. For normal operation, the water that you are choosing for your plant operations, for your pre-production operation, that should range from 120 to 200 micromoles per centimeter. This is very much important. Okay. Now, yes. Now take a look at this particular this particular graph. This is actually a very important curve. You see over here what happens. This graph basically maintains what it's showing. What it is showing, that what is the nature or what is the change in pH and conductivity with the addition of fountain solution to the with the addition of fount to the dampening solution. Okay. Now, before we can start the discussion on this, another important reminder that I would like to give you is that we have already established the pH of the fountain solution should be, that we are using, or dampening solution that we are using for offset printing should be 4.5 to 5.5, right? And you will see when we talk about fountain solution, all this fountain solution basically contains this buffer, so that even if you go on addition of some material like fount, alcohol and all this, the pH will remain within this range. So that buffer is going to help keeping the pH in this material. But as you add fount to this solution, what happens? The conductivity, as you can see, the conductivity increases, right? Normally, here you see this on the x-axis, you have got the amount of, or the percentage, not the amount really, but the percentage of fount, right? How much? So here you have 0% fount, 1%, 2%, etc. On this axis you have got the pH, on this axis you have got the conductivity in mole per centimeter, right? Now, here you can see that as we go on increasing the quantity of fount, what is going to happen? The conductivity is going to rise sharply, but the pH is going to become steady after a certain amount of time. pH is going to rise initially, but it is going to become steady between 4.5 to 5.5. Now, why do you think this happens? This happens precisely because the fountain solution contains that buffer material which keeps the pH of the fountain solution in range of the recommended value. Okay. But you see, conductivity goes on increasing. Why? You may ask the question that, okay, pH we understood, it becomes stable because the presence of the buffer solution. But why does the conductivity increase so much, or keeps on increasing really? The conductivity is basically what? It is basically the uh, ability of the water to conduct electricity, right? Now, if that is the case, then the fount that we're adding, they contain numerous amounts of salts and numerous amounts of electrolytes and ionizable material. So as you go on increasing the amount of fount in the water, then naturally the total amount of dissolved solid is going to increase, and if the total amount of dissolved solid is going to increase, the ability of the water to conduct electricity is going to increase. Hence, you have got increasing conductivity, right? So this type of plot is very much essential to remember. Okay. Now here you can see that the uh, recommended value of various pH values and conductivity values and hardness of the water, that is basically that should be used for the preparation of your fountain solution. Now fountain solution is basically prepared through what? It contains three components. One is water, which is the base material. Then to this you add the fount. To this you add the alcohol, right? Now you know the purpose of all these things. Water will basically be the base. Alcohol is added to water to reduce the surface tension of water, and fount is added so that a constant supply of gamma arabic is provided onto the non-image area of the plate. Hence, the non-image area remains desensitized. Okay. Now, in order to make the fountain solution, what are the recommended values of hardness and conductivity for the raw water? See, here I have written that the hardness should be around 75 to 150. So this makes this matches with our previous recommendation, where we saw that most water that we use in for print production should be between I think 120 and 200, right, or 100 to 200 range. So this matches with that range. So conductivity naturally becomes lower for where the hardness is this much, then the conductivity for that water is this much, that is 50 to 100 micromoles, right? If we make a fountain solution using this particular water and we add alcohol and fount to that water, the ultimate resulting fountain solution will have a pH of 4.5 to 5.5, that we have already seen. Why? Because there is some buffer solution there, and the resulting conductivity will actually rise to 1500 to 2000. This is actually the recommended level of conductivity for for any print production, for offset print production processes. Okay. Now you see why it is essential to keep the conductivity of the raw water low, because you see, if the conductivity of the raw water that you are using, that itself is, let us say, 1000 micromoles, then automatically this will shoot up to 3000 or 4000, right, when you add. If you take a look at the curve over here, what are you going to see? That the conductivity of raw water that you have used, that the lower it is, the better will be your conductivity, the better it will be for you to match the conductivity of the fountain solution with the recommended value, isn't it? If, say, let us, instead of this one, you start your conductivity from here, from this point, because the raw water conductivity is already, let us say, 1000, then what is going to happen? It is going to shoot off like this, so it will become 4000 or greater than 4000, like that. Because to raw water, to a water where you are whose own conductivity is 1000, to that you are adding fount, and as I've already told, that by addition of fount you already increase the conductivity of the solution, of the fountain solution. So that is not recommended. What is recommended is, in order to maintain the conductivity of the fountain solution in the recommended range of values, you need to start with a water which is itself having very low conductivity value. All right, so this should be kept in mind at all times while making, right? Now let us say what are some of the problems that you can face when the conductivity becomes very high. What happens is, there is change in conductivity and it goes beyond. I will tell you when it goes beyond and what are some of the effects that it basically has. Now here you see that there will be dot gain. I will explain why. Because when the conductivity goes beyond a certain level, it rises beyond 2000 and greater than 2000 it becomes, then this leads to over emulsification. This leads to over emulsification. If you remember our earlier discussion, if you remember our earlier discussion on pH, when I said basically when the pH becomes higher, alkaline, when the fountain solution becomes alkaline in nature, over emulsification happens. Can you correlate between these two concepts? I said there, if the pH becomes high, over emulsification happens. Here I am saying conductivity increases, over emulsification happens. Now can you correlate between these two concepts? Pause the video and think for a minute. See, they are related. If one happens, another is going to happen. Because conductivity increases when the number or the amount of total dissolved solid increases. What type of total dissolved solid is there? Salts of calcium, magnesium. So as I already told you, they are going to this temporary hardness. They are going to lead to strong base and weak acid. So if the solution contains, if the water contains strong base, this thing is pH is going to rise. And naturally, if it contains temporary hardness, the conductivity is also going to rise because it is already containing higher amount of TDS, right? So because of all these factors, they are basically related. So if one happens, other will happen. So because of these factors, over emulsification happens. Over emulsification means what? So I have a picture, I think somewhere. I saw that picture. Yeah. So here you see that normally in the case of image area, what is going to happen? What is the nature of emulsion? Nature of emulsion is water in ink emulsion. But if the conductivity is very much high and over emulsification starts to happen, then the relative quantity of water in the image area is going to rise up. So the nature of emulsion will turn from water in ink to ink in water. Now ink in water is not supposed to happen in the in the image area. It is going to happen in the non-image area. But if it happens in the image area due to the excessive presence of water or over emulsification, then what is going to happen? The scumming is going to happen, dot gain is going to happen, excessive water has being printed or being passed on to the paper, so size of dots will going to increase. Tinting is going to happen, the dampening solution is going to get the color of the ink, right? So tinting is going to happen, scumming is going to happen, piling, that means ink will not flow, it will kind of if the amount of water increases, what happens is the nature of ink, which is actually very much pliable and it's flowy in nature, as I explained in the last viscosity class, it's going to form like some mounds, right? It's not going to flow. Okay. The poor gloss is basically imparted because of the presence of that vehicle in the ink. Okay. But if the ink starts to get emulsified with greater quantity of water, then that is going to pass onto the paper and the gloss will start affecting. Slow drying. Why slow drying? See, I said that pH is increased, but still I am saying slow drying. So slow drying problem can occur both during, it's very important. Slow drying problem can occur both when pH is lower and when pH is higher. You must identify this. You must understand this. Why? Because in case of low pH, what happens? The alum starts to affect the glycosidic bonds of cellulosic fiber. It breaks off and the drying does not take place. But in case of higher pH in over emulsification, when the paper is starting to absorb more and more water, then it is not going to dry quickly. So here, because of over emulsification, slow drying is occurring. And naturally, because it contains greater amount of water is going to get absorbed quicker than ink, thereby ink setting, as I told you, ink setting means absorption of ink into the paper. This is going to get affected, right? And of course, if the ink is not going to get dry on top of the paper, if you rub it, it will just come off. So this problem is basically known as chalking problem. Okay. Now let me come to another important point over here. You see that as I already said, that the conductivity for the fountain solution is going to rise when we are adding fount. That is evident over here, right? So normally what we do, when we go and buy a new alcohol and fountain solution, we do perform this test. So I think I have a picture of the test that I performed. Yes, so this is a test that I performed myself. So this is for I will not disclose the brand, for the specific brand of alcohol and fountain solution. You see the pH has become, it was initially high, so after addition of fount it becomes steady between what, this range. See, the pH is of this range. Oh, sorry. Yeah, pH becomes of this range, right? It is around 4.5 to 5.5 range, right? So that is fine. And with the addition of the conductivity is also going to increase, right? The unit over here that I have used is microsiemens per centimeter. Now, if this is the case, then whenever you are going to buy the fountain solution, you need to identify what is the minimum amount of fountain solution that is to be added, fountain alcohol that is to be added to the fountain solution during its making. How do I identify that? You see, the amount of, you just plot it, right? So I said the recommended level of this thing is conductivity for the fountain solution should be around 1500 to 2000, right? So let us assume that we are expecting a level of 1500. So if it is level of 1500, you just plot it like this and you drop. So you get a fountain solution percentage which will give you a conductivity in the desired range. So 2% addition of that particular fountain alcohol combination will give you the desired range. But next question is, will it give you the desired pH range? So just plot it. So where will it be? It will be either 5 or slightly less than 5. So that is also acceptable, right? But if you use more than that or less than that, how much will it be? Suppose 1% of fount if you use, it will be less than you will get a fountain solution which is having a conductivity of less than 1000 microsiemens per centimeter, right? So if that is the case, then this is 1% is not going to serve your purpose, but 2% will serve. Will 3% serve? It might serve. Definitely, it might serve, but take a look at what is the value of conductivity here. So it is already greater than 2000, but so it is not required. 2% is very much sufficient over here. So what I am trying to say is that you need to identify the minimum amount. By plotting this, you need to identify, we'll do this experiment only in our lab. So I'll just give you a brief. So in order to identify the recommended level of pH conductivity of the fountain solution, you need to first identify the minimum amount of fountain alcohol combination that is required to go into the water for getting the pH and conductivity of the resultant fountain solution in the recommended level of values, right? Our intention is to keep the original or the initial conductivity of the fountain solution as low as possible. So if we want, we can keep it at 1500 also, right? We will try to keep it at cap at 1500 initially when we are making it for the first time. Normally what the press owners do nowadays, you have this constant recyclable fountain solution alcohol automatic measuring systems, but normally this is actually in very good quality machines this is present, but not in all machines. So in most of the machines in offset, they have to make this fountain solution and either replenish it or replace it. But replenishing fountain solution, replenishing means in due course of time you add alcohol, you add your fount to the dampening tank, but in certain quantities. But replenishing fountain solution is not a very good idea. I'll tell you why. Now I'll give you an example. You see, now say for your press owner, your press operator, and you have for your sheet fed offset machine, you have prepared a fountain solution with 2% addition of fount, and let us say 8% addition of alcohol. Normally IPA is used. I'll talk about it later on. 8% of IPA and 2% of fount you have used for making the fountain solution, and your machine is operating at full speed and your constant jobs you are printing. So after 1 month, initially at 2% solution, 2% fountain solution, how much is the initial conductivity? 1500. Okay. So normally you will see that you would expect that after a certain amount of time, let us say after 1 month, what do you think will be the value of pH and the conductivity, right? pH will vary widely, okay, and conductivity also will increase initially, because in the day 1 of the first day of the month you had made a fountain solution having 1500 microsiemens per centimeter as the conductivity. But after 1 month, what do you expect will happen to this conductivity? This is actually going to shoot off. It may be greater than 3000 also. So you might ask, okay sir, but I have not added, and mind you, I have not added any other IPA or any other found to this or replenished or replaced anything. Is just operating, the machine is operating using the same fountain solution as I had made in day 1 of the month. So you might ask, okay, but why is this happening? Why is, I have not added anything, I have not replenished anything, so why is the conductivity going on increasing? Try to think of this. pH is also going to rise. pH is also going to rise. If it's very difficult to say what the nature of pH will be, but with certainty we can say conductivity is going to rise. I said pH is it's a bit difficult to predict what the value of pH will be, because pH depends on two things, that is the type of uh, ink that you are using, and also the paper you are using. If you are using a paper which is alkaline in nature, then the pH is going to rise. If you are using a paper which is acidic in nature, then the pH is going to go down. But normally pH increases. pH will increase in due time. Now what we are going to see here, the main question that I am going to ask you is that why? Because we have not added, we have not replaced, nothing, but still the fountain's conductivity of the fountain solution has risen to 3000. What is the cause behind it? Can you tell me? Just think about it, pause the video and think about it. I'll give you the answer just now. You see, during print operation for 1 month, you have used paper, you have used ink. Ink contains various types of metals. It contains cobalt, it contains magnesium, it contains calcium. Paper, they contain alum, they contain calcium, they contain titanium oxide, they contain other materials which are good conductors of metals and salts which are good conductors of electricity. So during the print operation, what is going to happen? All this paper there, because all these rollers, your plate, your inking, your dampening, they're all running in contact with one another, right? So on the plate you have ink, you have, after the multiple runs of production, you have small paper fibers attached to the the plate, which is coming from the blanket and depositing itself onto the plate. So plate is again in contact with the inking system and with the dampening system, so that these particles of ink, these particles of paper is going to go into the dampening system, right? So if and these particles are going to increase the total amount of dissolved solids in the dampening solution. Now if the total amount of dissolved solid in the dampening solution increases, what is going to happen to the conductivity? It is going to rise up, even if you don't replenish the fountain solution, even if you do not add fountain solution, you do not replace the fountain solution, what is going to happen? It's going to rise up even if you do not replace it, because of all these materials that is being added to the dampening solution in the course of time. That is why no matter how good you are doing the printing, it is always recommended to change to replace, not replenish. Because if you replenish, the dampening solution already contains greater amount of dissolved solids in the means of small fibers of paper, in the means of some ink particles and all this. So not replenish, but replace the entire 20 liter or 80 liter of water, dampening water or fountain solution that we have used during the print operation, during the print production. So let us say after a month you throw away the water or the dampening solution that you have prepared a month before, and you make a new fountain solution by addition of water, 2% of this particular fountain solution found, and 8% of IPA. So this is going to keep your fountain solution stable, and this will give you very good quality printing as well, because you already know now that if the pH of the fountain solution becomes lower, drying problems occur, slow drying problems occur. If the conductivity of the fountain solution is very high, then all sorts of problems, over emulsification, slow drying, tinting, scumming, poor gloss, chalking, all these problems occur. So it is always recommended. Most of the problems that I have seen, they are very easily solvable when you go to the place, just by taking a look at the fountain solution, the pH and conductivity of the fountain solution. This is a very important step in ensuring that the quality of print that you are doing using your press is of good